The rain was falling hard that night. She stood outside the house with a small suitcase in her hand. Her clothes were wet. Her hair was stuck to her face. The gate behind her was still open, but she knew she was no longer welcome inside. Her husband stood at the door. His face was cold. No anger. No emotion. "Sign the papers and leave," he said. "This marriage is over." Her hands shook, but she did not cry. Not yet. 10 years. 10 years of cooking, cleaning, supporting him, and standing beside him when he had nothing. And now she was being thrown out like trash. The strong wind pushed rain into her eyes. Still, she looked at him calmly. "Is this what you want?" she asked softly. He did not answer her. He only pointed toward the road. Behind him, another woman appeared. She was well-dressed, confident, smiling. She wrapped her arm around his shoulder like she already owned the place. "Why are you still talking to her?" The woman said. "She has no value anymore." Those words cut deeper than the rain. For a moment, the wife felt her chest tighten. Her stomach was empty. Her body was weak. But her voice stayed quiet. She looked down at the divorce papers in her hands. 7 days ago, he had told her he was busy with work. 5 days ago, he stopped answering her calls. And tonight, without warning, he ended everything. No explanation. No apology. Only papers. "Sign it," he said again. "You have nothing to take from this house." She slowly signed her name. When she handed the papers back, her fingers brushed his hand. He pulled away quickly, like he was touching something dirty. She stepped back. The gate closed behind her with a loud metal sound. That was the moment her life broke. She stood there in the rain, holding her suitcase, unsure where to go. Her phone was dead. Her bank card no longer worked. He had blocked everything. She started walking. Each step felt heavy. Her shoes filled with water. Her stomach growled, but she ignored it. As she walked, memories came back. The night she stayed awake sewing clothes to help him save money. The time she sold her only necklace to pay his hospital bill. The way she smiled when he finally succeeded. And now, he had chosen another woman. After nearly 20 minutes, she reached a bus stop. She sat down slowly. Her body was tired. Her head hurt. The rain did not stop. People passed by, but no one noticed her. She opened her suitcase to check what she had. 2 dresses. 1 old photo. And an envelope. She stared at the envelope for a long time. It was old. Thick. Sealed. She had kept it hidden for years. Even her husband had never seen it. Her fingers touched the seal gently, but she did not open it. Not yet. Suddenly, a black car stopped across the road. The windows were dark. The engine stayed on. She looked up. The car did not move. She felt uncomfortable and stood up. The car slowly drove away. She told herself it was nothing. Minutes later, her phone vibrated once before dying completely. A single message appeared on the screen. "Tomorrow. 10 am. Be ready." No name. No number. Her heart beat faster. At the same time, inside the house she had just left, her husband was laughing. The other woman poured wine into 2 glasses. "She signed so easily," the woman said. She knew her place. He smiled. She was always weak. Outside, the wife held her coat tighter and closed her eyes. She remembered her mother's voice from long ago. "Never beg where you are not respected." She opened her eyes again. Her face was calm now. The rain slowed down. The night felt strangely quiet. She stood up, picked up her suitcase, and walked away from the bus stop. She did not know where she would sleep, but she knew one thing. This was not the end. The envelope in her bag felt heavier than before. Behind the clouds, the city lights shined quietly. Tomorrow was coming, and when it did, nothing would remain the same. If you think this story ends with tears, you are wrong. Subscribe now, because tomorrow will reveal a truth no one is ready for. The city was still asleep. When she reached the small shelter, the woman at the desk looked at her wet clothes and tired face. She did not ask many questions. She only pointed to a narrow bed near the wall. "You can stay until morning," she said. She thanked her softly and sat down. The bed was hard. The room was cold. Around her, other people slept in silence. Some whispered in pain. Some cried quietly. She lay down and stared at the ceiling. Her body was exhausted. But her mind would not rest. She kept seeing his face. Calm. Cold. Like she never mattered. She turned to her side and closed her eyes. 10 years. She remembered the early days of their marriage. They lived in a small apartment. No luxury. No help. Only hope. She worked 2 jobs while he tried to build his business. Every time he failed, she told him to try again. Every time he lost money, she stood beside him. When his first deal finally worked, she cried with joy. But tonight he called her nothing. She sat up suddenly, feeling sick. Her stomach hurt from hunger. She had not eaten since morning. Still, she did not complain. She opened her suitcase again. The photo fell out. It showed a younger version of her, standing beside a man in a black suit. His face was serious, powerful. His hand rested gently on her shoulder. She quickly picked it up and hid it again. "No," she whispered. "Not yet." Morning came slowly. At sunrise, she left the shelter quietly. She did not want pity. She walked the streets, looking for work. Cleaning jobs, cafes, small stores. Every place asked the same question. "Do you have experience? Do you have a phone number? Do you have an address?" She answered honestly. Most places shook their heads. By noon, her legs were shaking. She sat on a bench and drank water from a public fountain. Across the city, her husband was having breakfast on a balcony. The woman beside him wore silk. She laughed loudly. "Today we should post the engagement photos," she said. "People must see I won." He nodded. "She is gone. She has no one." Back on the street, the wife finally found a small restaurant that needed help washing dishes. The owner looked at her hands. "Can you work today?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. She worked without rest. Water burned her skin. Her back hurt. Still, she did not stop. At the end of the day, the owner gave her some cash and a sandwich. She thanked him and walked outside. As she ate, a large screen across the street turned on. Her husband's face appeared. "Successful businessman announces new engagement," the news headline said. People around her watched with interest. She froze. The woman beside him smiled proudly. Holding his arm. Someone near her said, "Lucky man." She lowered her head and finished the sandwich. She did not cry. That night, she rented the cheapest room she could find. The walls were thin. The bed was broken. She placed the envelope on the table and stared at it. Her hand hovered over it. Her phone buzzed again. This time, the battery did not die. A new message appeared. "Everything is ready. We found you." Her breath stopped. She replied with one word. "Where?" The answer came fast. "Tomorrow morning, downtown. You will not walk alone again." She sat down slowly. For the first time since the divorce, her eyes filled with tears. Not from pain. From memory. She remembered a promise made long ago. A promise she never wanted to use. Outside the window, a black car waited quietly. Inside it, a man spoke into his phone. "Yes," he said. "She is safe. We will bring her home." The woman touched the envelope one last time and turned off the light. Tomorrow would not be kind, but it would be fair. He thought she had no one left. But tomorrow, the truth will walk beside her. Subscribe now because the story is only beginning. Morning light entered the small room through a broken curtain. She sat on the edge of the bed, fully dressed. She did not sleep much. Her mind stayed awake all night. The envelope rested beside her bag. At exactly 9:45 a.m. Her phone vibr, a TED. A message appeared. We are outside. Her heart beat once. Hard. She stood up and walked out. The street was busy. People rushed past her. No one noticed when a black car stopped quietly near the sidewalk. The back door opened. A man stepped out. He wore a dark suit. His posture was straight. His voice was respectful. "Ma'am," he said, lowering his head slightly. "Please come with us." She hesitated for only 1 second. Then she entered the car. Inside, the air was calm, clean, safe, very different from her last few days. As the car moved, she looked out the window. She saw the city she once walked through as a nobody. The car stopped in front of a tall building downtown. Security guards opened the doors immediately. People inside stood still as she walked in. Some stared. Some whispered. She felt their eyes, but she did not lower her head. In a private office upstairs, an older man waited. His hair was gray. His eyes were sharp but kind. He stood when he saw her. "You came," he said softly. She nodded. "I had no choice anymore," she replied. He sighed and looked at the envelope in her hand. "You protected him for 10 years, the man said, even when he did not deserve it." She did not answer. The man slid a document across the desk. "The world believes you are weak," he continued. "That was your decision, but now things must change." She closed her eyes. "I never wanted this life," she said. "I wanted a normal family. And you gave everything for it," he replied, "including your name." Across the city, her ex-husband walked into his office with confidence. His employees congratulated him on his engagement. He smiled proudly. At lunch, he met with investors. "She supported me when I had nothing," he joked. "But she could never belong in this world." Everyone laughed. One investor leaned closer. She looked familiar. He waved it off. "You are mistaken." Back downtown, the woman stood in front of a large mirror. Someone had brought her new clothes. Simple, elegant, strong. She barely recognized herself. She touched her face and whispered, "This is not revenge." The older man nodded. "No, this is truth." Later that afternoon, she walked through a quiet hallway. On the wall were photos of powerful people, leaders, billionaires, legends. One photo stopped her. It was the same man from her old picture, her father. She turned away. "I do not want him to suffer," she said. "I just want my dignity back." The man behind her replied, "Sometimes dignity shakes the world." That evening, news screens across the city flashed a headline: "Historic fortune transfer announcement tomorrow." Her ex-husband saw it on his phone. He frowned. "That is strange," he muttered. At home, his fiancée looked nervous. "Why do I feel like something bad is coming?" she asked. He laughed. "You worry too much." That night, the woman stood alone in a quiet room. She finally opened the envelope. Inside was a document sealed with gold. Her real name, her real identity. She folded it carefully. Tomorrow, she would walk into a place where lies could not survive. She turned off the light. Outside, cameras were already being prepared. Tomorrow was waiting. He believed she was invisible. Tomorrow, the world will finally see her. Subscribe now because the truth is about to arrive. Asterisk. The black envelope arrived without warning. It was placed quietly at the front desk of the small building where she was staying. No return name. No stamp. Only her name written in clean, sharp letters. She held it in her hands for a long time. Her fingers did not shake. She already knew what it was. Inside, the card was simple but heavy. Memorial ceremony. Private attendance required time. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Location, Grand City Hall. At the bottom was a golden seal. She folded the card and took a slow breath. This is the moment, she whispered Dot across the city. Another envelope arrived. Her ex-husband opened it while standing in his luxury living room. He frowned when he saw the same golden seal. A memorial? He said, for who? His fiancée leaned over his shoulder. Dot, she went quiet. I've seen this seal before, she said slowly. He laughed. You are imagining things. But her face turned pale. The next morning, the city felt different. News vans parked near City Hall. Reporters spoke in low voices. Security was tight. Black cars arrived one by one. Inside one of them, the woman sat quietly. She wore a dark dress. No jewelry. No makeup. Her hair was tied back neatly. She looked calm, but inside her chest, her heart was steady and strong. When the car stopped, the door opened. Cameras flashed. Not for her. Not yet. She walked inside unnoticed. The hall was large and silent. The walls were white marble. The ceiling high and cold. People sat in rows. Powerful people. Rich people. Names known across the world. Her ex-husband entered with his fiancée. He felt proud to be there. This is good for business, he whispered. Being seen here matters. They took their seats. Then he froze. 3 rows ahead of him, he saw her. His ex-wife. Sitting alone. Straight posture. Calm face. For a moment, his mind refused to believe it. What is she doing here? He whispered sharply. His fiancée's nails dug into his arm. She should not be here. She said. The lights dimmed. The ceremony began. Man in a black suit stepped onto the stage. We are gathered today, he said, to honor a man whose name shaped global history. The screen behind him lit up. A face appeared. Older, powerful, serious. The woman lowered her eyes. Her father. The room filled with quiet shock. Her ex-husband's breath stopped. That man, he whispered. That man was. His fiancée grabbed his hand. Trembling. The speaker continued. He left behind a legacy beyond money, the man said. But today is not about wealth. The screen changed. A document appeared. This is about family. A murmur spread across the room. The woman felt all eyes slowly turning. Her ex-husband stood halfway up from his seat. No, he whispered. No, that's not possible. The speaker paused. There is one person, he said, who carried his blood and chose to live without his name. The hall went silent. The woman stood. Every sound disappeared. She walked forward. One step at a time. Her ex-husband dropped back into his seat. His face turned white. The speaker looked at her with respect. Please, he said gently. Come. She reached the stage and stopped. She did not look at the crowd. She looked straight ahead. The speaker spoke again. Before the world knows her, we will hear from her. The woman took a breath. Her voice was calm. I did not come here for money, she said. I came to say goodbye. Her ex-husband felt the floor disappear beneath him. She continued. I lived 10 years as someone else's shadow. Today I stand as myself. The room was frozen. The speaker turned toward her. Would you like us to reveal your name? He asked. She closed her eyes. Then nodded once. In the next moment, a single name will destroy a marriage, a lie, and a man's pride forever. Subscribe now, because the truth is about to be spoken. The hall was silent. So silent that every breath could be heard. The woman stood on the stage. Her hands relaxed at her sides. Her face showed no fear, no pride, only calm truth. The man beside her opened a folder slowly. Today, he said, the world will finally hear the name of the only daughter of our late leader. Her ex-husband felt his heart hit his chest. No, he whispered. This can't be real. The man spoke clearly. She gave up her identity for love. She lived without protection. without wealth, without her name. Murmurs spread across the room. She chose a quiet life, the man continued, while carrying a legacy that could have changed everything. The woman looked at the audience. For the first time, her eyes stopped. For a brief second on her ex-husband, he looked away. The man lifted the paper. Her name is Yi. Paused. Every camera zoomed in. Every phone was raised. The woman closed her eyes. She is the sole heir, the man said, to a global fortune. Then he spoke her real name. The name echoed through the hall. Gasps filled the air. Her ex-husband stood up suddenly, his chair falling back with a loud crash. "No," he said loudly. "This is a mistake." People turned toward him. His fiancée grabbed his arm. "Sit down," she hissed. "Everyone is watching." But it was too late. The screen behind the stage changed. Photos appeared. The woman as a child, standing beside her father, holding his hand. Legal documents followed. Clear, official, undeniable. The man on stage continued. She was protected in silence. But today, she stands by choice. The woman took a step forward. "I did not hide because I was afraid," she said calmly. "I hid because I believed love did not need money." Her voice did not shake. "I gave 10 years of my life to someone I trusted." Her ex-husband lowered his head. The room was heavy with tension. "Was called nothing," she continued. "I was thrown out without respect." Her ex-husband's fiancée felt her throat tighten. She was looking for a rich wife. Someone whispered nearby, "She married the wrong man," another replied. The woman looked away from the crowd. "I am not here to punish," she said. "I am here to end the lie." Her ex-husband suddenly stepped forward. "This is not fair," he shouted. "She never told me." The guards moved quickly, but she raised her hand. "Let him speak," she said softly. He froze. She turned to him. "You never asked," she said. "You only counted what you could see." His mouth opened, but no words came. The woman's voice remained calm. "When I stood beside you with nothing, you called it love. When you had everything, you called me nothing." His fiancée stepped back slowly. The man on stage spoke again. "Effective immediately," he said. "All assets will be transferred under her authority." The room exploded into whispers. Her ex-husband felt dizzy. His phone vibrated. Non-stop. Messages, calls, panic, investors pulling out. Partners asking questions. His world began to collapse. Woman turned back to the audience. "This ends today," she said. "I will not speak again about this." She walked off the stage. Cameras followed her. As she passed her ex-husband, she stopped. She leaned close enough for only him to hear. "You didn't lose me today," she said quietly. "You lost me the night you chose her." She walked away. Behind her, her ex-husband dropped into his seat. His fiancée slowly removed the ring from her finger. She placed it on the chair and walked away. He built his future on a lie and watched it fall in one moment. Subscribe now, because regret has only just begun. The morning after the ceremony felt heavy. News screens across the city showed the same headline again and again. Trillion heir revealed after living in silence. Her face was everywhere. Calm, dignified, unbreakable, across town. Her ex-husband sat alone in his office. The blinds were half open. His phone would not stop ringing. He did not answer. His assistant knocked softly. "Sir," she said, "3 investors have pulled out. 2 more are asking for meetings." He stared at the wall. "Cancel everything," he replied. Minutes later, another call came. His lawyer. "Your accounts are under review," the lawyer said. "Partners are nervous." He ended the call without speaking. For the first time in his life, fear replaced pride. Meanwhile, She sat in a quiet room high above the city. The view outside was wide and endless. A team of people waited silently. Lawyers, advisors, security. She listened, but said little. "I don't want revenge," she said finally. "I want distance." They nodded. "Your wish will be respected," one said, but the world did not slow down. Outside the building, reporters waited day and night. Inside, she walked calmly through halls that once belonged to her father. She stopped in front of a large window. Her reflection stared back at her. "You are not weak," she whispered. Across the city, her ex-husband's fiancée packed her bags. She moved fast, quiet. When he came home, the house felt empty. "Where are you?" he asked aloud. No answer. He found the ring on the table. Cold, final. He dropped into a chair. Everything was gone. The next day, he stood outside a tall building. Her building. Security stopped him. "I need to see her," he said. "Please." The guard looked at his name. "Wait," he said. Minutes passed. Finally, the guard returned. "She will see you," he said. 5 minutes. His heart raced. Inside, the room was calm, clean, powerful. She stood near the window. She did not turn when he entered. "You came," she said. "I had to," he replied. "Please, listen." She turned slowly. Her eyes were calm, empty. "I lost everything," he said. "I didn't know. I swear." She studied him. "You didn't know my money," she replied. "But you knew my loyalty." He lowered his head. "I was blind," he whispered. She took a breath. "Blindness is choosing not to see," she said. Silence filled the room. He stepped closer. "Can we start again?" he asked. She did not answer right away. Then she spoke. "You already started again," she said. "With someone else." He reached out. She stepped back. "Don't," she said. Her voice was soft, but firm. "I did not come here to punish you," she continued. "I came to close a chapter." Tears filled his eyes. "I loved you," he said. She shook her head. "You loved what I gave you," she replied. The guard cleared his throat. "Time," he said. The man froze. She walked to the door and opened it. "Goodbye," she said. He stood there as the door closed slowly. Outside, his legs felt weak. Inside, she leaned against the wall for a moment. She closed her eyes. Not from pain, from release. That night, the news changed tone. Former businessman faces investigation. Engagement quietly ended. Her ex-husband watched the screen alone. The world he built was gone. The woman sat in silence, holding a small photo of her mother. "Am I doing the right thing?" she whispered. Her phone vibrated. A message appeared. "One last decision remains." Her eyes narrowed. Tomorrow was not finished yet. He begged. Too late. But her final choice is still coming. Subscribe now, because the ending will change everything. The city no longer spoke his name with respect. News screens now showed different words. Former CEO questioned. Business empire under collapse. Engagement ends quietly. He sat alone in a small apartment he rented after losing the house. The silence was heavy. No assistance. No calls. No praise. Only regret. He stared at the wall, replaying every moment of his marriage. The nights she waited for him. The meals she cooked when he came home late. The way she smiled even when she was tired. And the night he threw her out. "I was a fool," he whispered. Across town, she stood in a bright room filled with calm light. Everything around her was controlled, quiet, safe. Yet, her heart felt restless. She had won, but something still felt unfinished. An advisor approached her carefully. "He is requesting one final meeting," he said. "No media. No conditions." She closed her eyes. "Why now?" she asked. "He says he wants nothing, the advisor replied. Only to speak. She remained silent for a long moment. Then she nodded. Bring him tomorrow, she said. One last time. The next day, he arrived early. He wore a simple shirt. No watch, no pride. He waited. When she entered, he stood up slowly. You look strong, he said. She did not answer. Sit, she said calmly. He obeyed. I don't want forgiveness, he said quickly. I don't deserve it. She looked at him. Then why are you here? She asked. He swallowed. Because I can't live knowing I destroyed the one person who truly loved me. Her eyes softened slightly, but only slightly. You didn't destroy me, she said. You revealed yourself. He nodded. I lost everything, he said. And now I understand why. She stood and walked toward the window. When you had nothing, she said, you respected me. When you had everything, you measured me. He lowered his head. I was weak, he said. No, she replied. You were comfortable. Silence returned. Then she turned back to him. There's one thing left, she said. He looked up. I will give you a choice, she continued. Not for me. For yourself. His breath caught. She placed a document on the table. This will decide how the world remembers you, she said. He stared at the paper. What is it? He asked. A public statement, she replied. The truth. About me. About you. His hands shook. If you sign, she said, you admit everything. Your lies, your betrayal, your greed. And if I don't? He asked. She met his eyes. Then I stay silent, she said. And you live with your version of the story. He stared at the paper. Signing would destroy what little reputation he had left, but refusing would mean living as a coward. He remembered her face in the rain. Picked up the pen. I'll sign, he said. Her eyes searched his face. Why? She asked. Because, he said, this is the first honest thing I will ever do. He signed. The pen dropped from his hand. She took the paper and folded it carefully. This does not fix us, she said. But it frees me. He nodded. I know, he said. Goodbye. She did not stop him this time. After he left, she sat alone. The room felt quiet again. Her phone buzzed. A new message appeared. Press conference scheduled for tomorrow morning. She stared at the screen. Tomorrow. The world would hear the truth, but the final decision was still hers. She looked at the photo of her mother on the desk. What would you choose? She whispered. The answer came quietly inside her. He finally chose honesty. But her final choice will decide everything. Subscribe now because the ending will not be what you expect. Asterisk. The morning arrived quietly. Outside the building, cameras waited. Reporters stood in lines. The city held its breath. Inside, she stood alone in a private room. The dress she wore was simple. No jewelry. No signs of power. Only calm. The document lay on the table. The truth. Downstairs, her ex-husband sat in a small waiting room. His hands were folded tightly. His face looked older. Tired. He had not slept. When the doors opened, the press conference began. A spokesperson stepped forward. Thank you for coming, he said. Today, a statement will be read. The room fell silent. She walked onto the stage. Cameras flashed. She stood straight. My name matters today, she began. But not for the reason people think. Her ex-husband watched from the screen in the waiting room. I lived 10 years without my identity, she continued. By choice, she paused. I believed love was enough. The room stayed quiet. I supported a man when he had nothing. I trusted him when he had everything. Her voice did not shake. When he chose someone else, I was thrown away without respect. Murmurs spread. She lifted the document. This paper holds the truth, she said. And today, it will be public. The feu. Spokesperson read it aloud. Every word landed like weight, betrayal, lies, greed, her. Ex-husband closed his eyes. She took the microphone again. I do not share this to destroy a man, she said. I share it to free myself. She looked around the room. Power does not come from money, she said. It comes from knowing your worth. She stepped back. The press exploded with questions, but she did not answer. She walked away. Outside. The world changed tone instantly. Former CEO admits. Betrayal. Silent wife reveals truth. Trillionaire chooses dignity. Her ex-husband left the building through a side door. No cameras followed him, for the first time in years. He was invisible. Days passed. The noise slowly faded. She moved into a quiet home by the sea. No guards, no meetings. Just spaced out. One evening, she sat on the balcony, watching the sun fall into the water. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered. I am calling to confirm. A voice said. You are refusing the full inheritance control. Yes, she replied calmly. May we ask why? The voice asked. She smiled softly. Because my life is already full, she said. She ended the call. That same night, her ex-husband sat alone in his apartment. He watched the news. One last time. They were no longer talking about him. He finally understood. Losing her was the real punishment. Weeks later, she visited a small community center. She donated quietly, helped silently. No interviews. No names. One child asked her, Are you famous? She smiled. No, she said. I am free. As she walked away, she passed a mirror. She looked at herself, not as a wife, not as an heir, but as a woman who chose herself. Behind her, the world moved on, but her story stayed. She lost a husband, but gained her life. If this story touched you, subscribe now, because some tears are silent, but their strength is loud.